Hello guys, welcome back to another election prediction video. This time we're going to do the 2022 Senate predictions. So let's just go with the safe states. And at this point, Biden's approval rating is getting worse and worse, and the Democrats' chances of holding the Senate are getting worse and worse as we go through this. Now I'm putting Iowa as safe because at this point, Grassley is probably going to landslide his victory in 2022 based on what's currently happening. I mean, the Democrats have a decent Senate nominee. I just don't think it's really going to matter that much. Maryland's also going to be safe. I mean, if Larry Hogan ran, he could get it definitely to likely, but he wouldn't win the state still. It'd be very monumental for him to win that. So it's going to be safe there. But I think we set up all the safe states for the Democrat. Oh, forgot Illinois. That's not going to be competitive at all, in my opinion. Even if the Republicans get a good candidate, still over 10% loss. So I think we're ready to go in with this prediction. So first things first, Ohio, you do have Tim Ryan for the Democrats nominee. He's a pretty decent candidate. The most he's going to do is keep it likely. He's going to prevent it from going to a solid state. Florida, Republicans have Marco Rubio. He's a very talented candidate. And honestly, I really just don't see him losing to any Democrat they have to put forward. Rubio's probably going to win by a likely margin and do extremely well in the state of Florida, considering that DeSantis is also leading by a decent margin here. They're a deadly duo in this state, and they're probably going to do extremely well here. The state of Missouri originally was going to put it as lean, but even with Eric Greitens as the nominee, it still will probably be a likely victory by like 5% or 6%. And that's where I'll put it right now. If Eric Greitens gets the nominee, I still think he'll probably end up winning the state by about a likely margin. It could go to lean, though, because of how bad of a nominee he is for Republicans. But overall, it's probably going to be likely. That's just what my current read of the situation there. Colorado. Colorado, the Democrats have a decent candidate here, and I don't really see him losing to, well, it's Michael Bennet. I really don't see him losing any Republicans. Unless they nominate Cory Gardner, they could get this to a lean race, but I still think it's going to be a likely victory for the Democrats. The state of Washington state, it used to be a safe state, but now I'm rating it as likely. The Democrat only has a 9-point lead in this race, which is pretty striking. So the Republicans are definitely making inroads in a lot of states you wouldn't really expect. That's Washington, but I don't think it's ever going to go to lean this race in the Senate at all. I just don't see how the Republicans get to that way unless Democratic turnout plummets in 2022. So the next few states, we have the state of North Carolina. I think it's still going to be a lean state. I mean, there's some polling that's suggesting it might be a likely race for the Republicans, but I'm going to hesitate and still put it into the lean category. I still think the Democrats have a chance with Cherry Beasley. I do think she's a pretty good candidate to get African American turnout high here in the state. State of Wisconsin, we have an incumbent Ron Johnson running. An incumbent advantage will definitely come into factor here, and he'll probably win this state by a lead margin based on how the Republicans are doing just really well on the generic ballot with like 2 to 3 point lead. I don't think the Democrats are going to win this state or flip it as of right now. So the next state, Georgia. Herschel Walker is a very awful candidate for the state of Georgia, but every poll so far indicates he has a 2-point to 1-point lead against the Democrat. And even though Raphael Warnock has a huge chest of money still, it's looking like it's going to be a flip for Republicans in the state of Georgia so far. Unless Raphael Warnock could turn it around with that money, his fundraising he's getting. And at this rate, I think Herschel Walker will probably win this seat, but they could do some attack ads. They could take him out. It's not over yet in Georgia, but that's how I currently see it. Now, the state of Arizona, I also see it as a tilt Republican flip. Mark Kelly does have a lot of fundraising dollars, which is why I'm putting as tilt. He still has a shot here, but so far, based on the Republican momentum, I think they're going to flip this state, even if Mark Kelly runs an extraordinary campaign. I just don't think it'll matter. State of Nevada, I'm also putting this as tilt. I think the Democrats do have a shot here of holding this seat, but so far Republican momentum probably going to help out Republicans in the state, and they're probably going to end up flipping it with a decent Senate candidate in Laxalt. He's a very good one, and I do think He's probably the front runner so far by a tilt margin, but this is going to be a very close state to watch. Now, the state of New Hampshire. I currently see the Democratic incumbent holding this race. Republicans have no good candidates at all, just a bunch of no-namers. And honestly, at this point, Democrats are probably going to hold this state. They lucked out with Krista Sununu not running. So now we're down to the state of Pennsylvania. Originally, I was having it as tilt Democrat, but just based on the current generic ballot lead and Biden's dwindling approval ratings, at this point, it'll probably be tilt Republican, even with Fetterman as the nominee. I mean, if with Lamb as the nominee, I think it would go to lean, but if it's Fetterman, which is looking like it'll be him, it'll definitely be tilt. He's one of the better candidates. He has a real good shot here, but so far, Republicans are probably going to end up with 53 seats of Democrats 47 in the month of April. So let me know what you think of this prediction in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.